So that makes you much more effective than other IT companies that are content to sit on their laurels
Mm-hmm.
if someone is not paying attention. And
Yep.
it's like, well, we're just going to keep doing the thing that we're doing because you guys have done a great job and we're not going to reevaluate constantly or continually.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way that you play the game with your clients. You're constantly always looking for improvements, and that's part of your ongoing process.
Oh yeah.
And so if they're not cool with that, they're not your client.
Right.
Or it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, and at some point it will be like any relationship. They'll be like, I don't think this is
What are we
working.
doing here?
Right, because when you want something at that level, it costs more.
Mhm.
Like if you want simple help desk, someone to answer the phone and to like fix your printer when it's dead, that's a commodity. That's the bottom of the barrel for IT support. But if you're like, hey, I want someone to build integrations with all of our systems so that we're not relying on human beings to do things. It's all done automatically and more efficiently and better. That's a different price point. But the value it brings is significantly higher.
Well, you've talked about that before, I think, as the term is white glove,
Mhm.
white glove service.
Yeah.
Now, that carries connotations with it of being, oh, that's super fancy or something like that. But the way that you just described it, where you're like, well, I don't want us to only provide the bare minimum level of service. We want to actually make an impact and make a difference in improving your company. And that's what we're focused on. It's not just the doing of the things, it's on the building of the people.
Yeah, exactly. It's about letting them know and feel taken care of. That's a huge issue in our industry is that a lot of IT companies are seen, and probably rightly so, as Dilbert, it's or the Geek Squad, or the people that socially awkward pen protectors, all pocket protectors area.
Hey, those are a serious thing.
You would know. You're the fashion guy. But we want to take that out of that stereotypical geek space and take it up to, hey, we're going to make you more money. And what business owner wouldn't want to be like, oh my God, they're going to make me more money? Like, seriously? Like, if I spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, if I can eventually end up making, 3 or 4 times that additional revenue that I'm making now, like, why would I not do that?
So then you make that the subject of the conversation with your prospects and your clients. This is the new framework of thinking about IT. This is the new framework of, this has been something that's kind of been in the background for you, on the back burner. And maybe since the late 90s, early 2000s, it really has been, and it's time for an update, but not just an update of equipment or of processes, but of thinking in general.
It's absolutely thinking in general, because I've always been looking at what's coming, down the pipeline for our industry. And I feel that we've done a pretty good job of not being cutting edge or bleeding edge, like one step below that, just because, I don't want to get cut or bleed, and neither do our clients. But we still need to push forward, and we always push our clients forward into what's coming. And like clients that have been with us, 15, 16 years, they're not anywhere near the same client they were back in the day, because they know that these automations are happening. They're able to do a lot more work, able to get more things done. And I hate to say, human beings kind of suck at this stuff. So let's automate a lot more things and get the human beings out of the equation. Not be waiting for a human being to send an invoice, not waiting for a human being to process a payment, not waiting for a human being to answer something that you're doing. What if we could automate all that stuff so that it happens automatically?
So all of this comes back to the fundamental aspect of it being a mindset shift of, we're going to be constantly improving compared to just updating something every once in a while because the equipment is super old. And that fundamental mind frame shift, that probably, you probably interact with that with different clients at various stages where they're like just getting into thinking about that in different aspects of their life or business. But then there's some people that are like all in. They're like, that's how I do everything. I'm always thinking about making improvements that way, or delegating things, or having someone that's a subject matter expert that's taking care of that for me. Tell me about that, where you see the general people, the prospects that you're working with. Where are people in that spectrum, if you will? Are they all across the board? Are they interacting with thinking innovatively all the time? Who resonates with that, or does
that's a good one. So we have it's kind of all over the board, and it depends on age. It depends on what their industry is. It depends on the how many owners are there. Is there ownership by committee, or is there one person making a decision? Are they younger? Younger people want to use technology to differentiate their businesses from other people. Sometimes older individuals or more seasoned business owners have a harder time grasping the ability to have technology do a lot of these things for you. So they're like, well, we've always done it this way for 20 years. Like, okay, that's not going to get you, what got you here won't get you there. That's a huge saying in our industry, because you cannot keep doing the same things and expect different results, especially in technology. But when they do resonate with that, it is the easiest conversation in the world to have, because we're like, this is what's going to happen. This is when it's going to happen. And let's go. And they're like, sounds great, I'll sign. And it does, dollar amount doesn't matter.
Because the value is greater than the dollars.
The value is great. They see that the value is so much greater than the dollars they're spending. I've had clients, like, we give our presentation, like, great. I'm asking for a lot of money. We're asking $15,000, $20,000 a month. They're like, sounds great, let's do it.
Well, and that's another interesting thing. It's the value could be there, but the perceived value isn't there, and it won't work, because the value could actually exist. And say I sign on for this update, upgrade, what, I don't know how you talk about it, but I sign on for this $15,000, $20,000 a month, and you know that it's going to do 4 or 5x that, but they don't have the confidence for whatever reason. They're either locked down internally for something, or you didn't describe things to them effectively. But it's not that you didn't describe things effectively to them. So it really does. You have to work on yourself as a person in order to be able to grow in business. And that's true of you. That's true of me. That's true of the clients that you and I both serve. Where someone that has worked on themselves to understand, I need to take on this, not look at it not as an expense but as an investment, and believe that, I don't know. I'm just rambling.
No. You hit upon a couple of things. So the perceived value. If the perceived value and the actual value don't match, there's some reason they're not seeing the value of what you're doing. It's over. Like, it's very hard to convince somebody that you're doing the thing and they don't believe you.
So how do you tie that up nice with a bow and show people, hey, this is the value that we just did, so they continue to have confidence in the recommendations that you're making or something like that. It's like, okay, great, I just trusted you with this, but now I didn't actually come back around and show you that this was effective, and it just kind of gets lost in the wind. Like, if you only have one account for all of the money that comes in and out of your household, it's really hard to keep track of what's making a dent in what area. But if you separate it into the investment side, into the saving side, into the giving side, into the spending side, then you can better keep track of what's making an impact where. Sure. So how do you measure your impact, or how do people that you work with measure the impact that you have when you do things like that?
So when we manage a client, we have a platform we use that basically tracks time for all of our employees, the amount of tickets that they have, the amount of projects we're working on, the amount of time we're spending on those things. And it gives me all that data. I can go to them and say, okay, you don't think that you've gotten better, but we actually have spent X amount of time, and you have gone from, let's take a number, say 100 tickets a week, down to 70 tickets a week, down to 50 tickets a week, down to 30 tickets a week. And it's going down because people haven't had that many issues. We are solving the problems in your company, and the issues are getting less and less and less. And we can provide that data to them. We can say, okay, great, even if it's not a ticket, okay, we've worked 30 hours a week for a month. Now it's down to 25, now it's down to 20, now it's down to 15. Like, we've not had to spend as much time dealing with your issues, and things have gotten better. And also your staff is happier. Like, there are some intangible things that can't be put into a report. Like, your staff is happier. Like, that's a real thing. Like, your staff will quit if they're mad. Like, if your technology is so bad, like, I can never print this report. This report takes me 90 minutes to, like, well, that's stupid. What if we could fix it and you can run it in one?
Yes, please.
Exactly. But you get people like, well, okay, dissatisfied employees will leave because they can go somewhere better and do things better. It's a huge issue when you've got an older business owner and younger employees. So we've got a lot. That's was actually very popular a couple of years ago. We had a lot of older business owners and younger employees. I mean, they didn't even have calendars that sync to their phones.
Mm.
And the owner's like, I don't want to spend that money on that. Like, I've never needed that before. My calendar is just fine. So what happens is the younger employees start coloring outside the lines. Like, oh, I can't work from home. Like, you have a desktop sitting on my desk and a phone sitting on my desk, and that's the only place I can get work done. I mean, that sounds terrible for me, and I'm almost 50. So what they do is they start coloring outside the lines. Like, oh, I'm going to set up a free Dropbox account. I'm going to put my files in there, and then I can work on them from home on my home computer. So now you've opened up your company to unprotected devices, accessing company data, hosted in a third-party application that's not even backed up or supported. And this just keeps snowballing. And then what happens is that employee leaves. And you lose access to that free Dropbox account because you didn't even know it existed. And now all those files are gone because you can't access it.
Because you didn't set up the thing for them to be able to do that in-house
Right.
to begin with.
So we have to come up with a blend of technology that works for these companies and make sure that their culture understands that, yes, these old people want to have a phone sitting on their desk. We have, very nice voice over IP phones that look like they're from the 80s. I mean, they're black and white. There's real small screens. Those like the number one phones that these older individuals want. And then we've got, the soft phone on your iPhone with the AirPods or running on your computer for the younger people, so they don't have those things on there. We can blend these technologies together so that the functionality is uniform across every part of the business, but the perception is that we've catered the solution to all these different groups based on what makes them comfortable.
So I have one more question, then I got to go.
Yep.
But thanks for having me, by the way.
Absolutely.
I am curious then, how then do business owners that you work with or don't work with, but that are concerned with culture, they want to have the right culture, how do they know that they're on the right track or that they might need to make a change?
Typically, they need to have somebody from the outside come in and evaluate it. Just because they need somebody who's outside of the hierarchy, the org chart, to evaluate people underneath them. So one of the things we do, just as like a side example, when we do an IT discovery for a company, I interview people at all different levels. So we talk to the employees that are using technology, and it's all anonymous. I'm not going to tell their bosses that, Steve is bitching about his old computer. No, we say, one of your employees is concerned that his computer is 12 years old, and he can't actually load all the programs on it all at one time. It's actually affecting his ability to work. So we interview all these people at different levels, and we report it back to the president, because what the executives see and what the people in the trenches see are always two different things. And you'd be shocked at some of the stuff. I mean, we've had people start crying during these interviews because, like, my entire group is going to leave if we don't fix these issues. Like, they're done. Like, they'll be working, and then, like, the document just crashes. All of a sudden, they've lost 3 hours of work. It happens every week. Like, imagine going through that frustration, and the higher-ups have no clue what's happening. So you need someone from the outside to come in and evaluate these things at all different levels, and then sit down with the executive team and say, are you willing to fix the problems? Because problems go uphill. They don't go downhill. So everything at the end of the day is our fault. So what we have to do is have executive buy-in. Yes, I'm going to make these problems right, and yes, they're all my fault. And I'm going to work to make everything better for everyone below me. And working together consistently to achieve your goals and to understand, yes, we are screwed up. We are, we're 8 people, but companies of 30, 40 people, it's even worse because it spreads out and not down. So you have, multiple people in the same positions across the board who have different ideas of how to do things. So you need some sort of harmony and common goals to drive the company forward.
But case in point, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And if you never take a look at your systems, then you're never going to fix the problems.
No,
that,
you should
that keep
constantly
you
be reviewing all your systems. That's what we do. Like every quarter, we review like 3 or 4 systems that we've got, just because we want to make sure we're doing things the best way.
That's cool. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Great to see you.
Now we've got like an hour video. Good luck, sir.